how salient this issue is, and we look at it and we talk about it. That's why I'm welcoming you today to another episode of Roundtable on OGTV. My name is Morani Keji Shobaleju. Yes, like I said, we're looking at our local government ahead of local government election, and of course I won't be doing this all alone by myself. I have a lot of, full house this morning, and I will be looking at, main issues, germane and topical questions will be asked this morning. So before I introduce to you and then let the cat out of the bag, let me take this short break and I'll be back to introduce my guest in the studio. Yes, glad to have you join us again. First off, this autonomy that has just been granted, the effort of the federal government through the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, come with a lot of reactions from people. This is what a lot of people have been, this has been the agitation, people have been asking for it. And when you look at this, it's a lot of expectation is pointing in the direction of the electoral umpire, that is the State Electoral Commission, and that's why I have in the studio joining us via Zoom this morning, Babatunde Oshibodu, that's the chairman of the State Electoral Commission. Good morning, Mr. Babatunde.
Good morning, Morani Keji. Good morning, our viewers and listeners statewide. I'm very pleased to join you this morning.
Thank you. Nice having you join us on the conversation this morning. And also, I have with me in the studio a politician, a seasoned, politician, a young and vibrant one at that. He's been a member of the Ogun State House of Assembly, and he's been so actively participating in the grassroots politics of Ogun State. Talking about no other person, Honorable Aino Akinpelu, who has once represented a constituency in the Ado-Odo-Ota state constituency. Join me as I welcome in the studio again today, Honorable Aino Akinpelu.
Good morning. Pleased to meet you, and I say good morning to everyone of us, home and abroad.
Thank you. Nice having you join us.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, and again, I have another grassroots mobilizer. When you're talking about local government politics, you're looking at grassroots, that is where you talk about politics at the grassroots level. So I have another grassroots mobilizer. Join us in the conversation this morning, Samson Owolola Akinbogun. Nice having you join us.
Okay, good morning. I appreciate the effort of everyone in our state. It's going to be greater. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice having you join the conversation this morning. Yes, let's quickly begin. We are looking at, if you want to look at it holistically, it's about a total collapse of a local government structure. And this is one castle that we're looking at. It's been broken down, it's been broken completely. And this is one tier of government. This is a grassroots government that we believe to have the larger concentration of the active, population of the country. When you talk about youth, the age bracket, and the percentage of the population we have in Nigeria, we have more concentration of youth in this tier of government. That's at the local government level, and this is where it is believed that the policy of government should touch down through the local government. So I want to begin with you, Honorable. When you look at our local government today, yes, it's a beautiful development coming from Mr. President, like the autonomy that has been yearnings and agitation has been centered around it. And it's now been granted that local government is allowed, they have their independence now. But you want to look at our local government, before now. What do you have to say?
Well, thank you once again for having me on this program. And firstly, I equally welcome my co-participant, the AGSEC, and my honorable in the House. Firstly, let us commend the efforts of Mr. President through the Attorney General of the Federation, in person of President Lateef Fagbemi, for this bold move to bring on board the autonomy for the local government administration in our dear country, Nigeria. And firstly, let me say that the functionality of the local government autonomy is something every citizen of this country desires, both politicians and non-politicians as well, because that, like you have said earlier on, is the closest government to the people at the grassroots. For every effort of government to be appreciated, it has to go down to the local government. And for this, it behoves on us to make sure that the autonomy for the local government is attained. And let's go back to memory lane. Even prior to, before our independence, during the colonial era, the issue of local government has been autonomy has been a great issue. And this was taken into the 50s, then the mid-50s, around 1954, thereabout, until the landmark local government reforms of 1976, which, of course, gave the desired autonomy, the expected autonomy to the local government administration. But of course, this could not be fulfilled until when it was entrenched in the 1979 Constitution. And unfortunately, it will be surprising to note that the 1979 Constitution that brought in the Second Republic administration into power never practiced the local government system of government. They were purely run by sole administrators and caretaker committee as desired by each state of the federation as at then. Not until 1999, when, of course, we had
the Constitution
was
amended.
All these constitutions, I talked about the 1978 and the detail for that of 1999 were, of course, taken care of or done by the military men. Of course, the 1999 was equally a landmark beginning for the local government autonomy, whereby we have a democratically elected local government administration, and which, of course, was the first election we had then. And of course, we all saw what came out of the whole thing, and they were given their autonomy, I will say, to some extent. Of course, allocations were coming directly from the federal government and they performed. Until later, when they now came to a point of zero allocation. And that is what we inherited in this present time.
And that's why we are beginning to have, total collapse in the local government administration. Well, let's quickly fast forward to the fact that, yes, their autonomy has been granted, is not more news, and we are expecting much from the electoral umpire, which is why I want to be asking Mr. Babatunde to speak to us how prepared the commission is, because we are looking forward to a conducting of another election coming up, at the local government level, probably very soon. And, we want to look at level of preparedness, Mr. Babatunde. Can you speak to us on this, and let's see how prepared are you, because this is one election that would be happening after the granting of autonomy. Are we expecting much from the electoral umpire to be, to ensure that each free exercise, is conducted across, the local government in Ogun State?
Thank you, Moran KG, for that question. Your question is, how prepared are we for the elections? And my answer is simple. We are very prepared. We have taken our time to come out with a timetable. We've taken our time to come out with our guidelines. We didn't just wake up one day and say we're going to hold elections. We have discussed with stakeholders. We have dotted our I's and crossed our T's. We have the security apparatus well prepared. Our administrative functions are in high gear. And I'm pleased to say that we are very prepared for the elections to hold on the 16th of November 2024.
Thank you so much. We are aware that the election is coming up soon. That's the date you've mentioned now, 16th of November, and that is, say, 2 months away, if I am not mistaken. But of course, beyond the preparation from the umpire, we also think about, involving the expected stakeholders to ensure that, when we look at the advocacy roundtable that is expected to happen between the umpire and the stakeholders, how far with this? What can you tell us, in what area do you think the general public should be notified of what is expected of them? Of course, people must exercise their franchise. People must come out and choose their representative at all levels. So what do you have to say to this, talking about a round table advocacy or a kind of discussion between the umpire and the stakeholders?
Okay, so this is why we have good notice when you're going to have elections. In this case, we've given notice of over 100 days for the elections. In that time, we have a timetable, not just for the electoral processes, but also for what I would call an itinerary, where we would be engaging stakeholders one by one. We took the first step last week, Thursday, where we had a stakeholders meeting and press briefing. The press were present, stakeholders were present, and when I say stakeholders, I mean political parties, youth groups, the security operatives, the traditional rulers were represented, so that when they were there, we unveiled our program to them, we spoke to them, and we took questions from some of the participants or some of the attendees. Over the next 3 months, leading up to the 16th of November, this is going to accelerate. We're going to be visiting the local governments. We're going to be meeting with the various groups, the political parties, especially, I always make this point. The traditional rulers are a very important pillar when it comes to local government elections, because they know their localities, they know the people in their domains. So it is a lot easier for them, when we have met with them, it's a lot easier for them to now disseminate the information that we have for the community as they know best. It is easier for them to engage the various groups in their communities, so that the message gets to the grassroots. And that message is simple. On the 16th of November 2024, there's going to be elections into the 20 local governments of Ogun State. That means that there will be 20 chairmen being elected on that day, and also councillors into all the various wards. We have 234 wards in the state. So as we roll out our itinerary, everyone will see how things will progress. But I assure you that at the end of the day, we will ensure that the elections are free, they are fair, they're equitable, and they're just, and that the true winners emerge as the elected individuals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Batunde, for that. And that takes me to another question. Yeah, you mentioned rightly that the grassroots, that's the traditional rulers at their levels should also, to kind of be involved and be more engaging with the people. And that question will take me to our grassroots mobilizer here, Mr. Wulola. We're looking at conducting, each free election. That's the election that means a lot to people, especially at grassroots level. What has been your own effort? How much are you ready to build on all efforts from all quarters, the stakeholders? We're talking about what INEC, the OGSEC are planning to do. He has said it as a chairman. But fulfilling your own part as a grassroots mobilizer, how do you intend to ensure that your cooperation is felt at all levels?
Thank you so much. And I appreciate our chairman, for the wisdom applied to the issue on the ground. Then also appreciate the effort of the president to give room for the autonomy, because when we have the autonomy, there will be deep in penetration to the grassroots we are talking about. And the area of mobilization we're talking about, I'm very happy when I heard it from our chairman when he mentioned the monarchs. So when you're talking of the grassroots, the monarchs have a very powerful role to play on the grassroots issue, because we need to consult them. You know, they are very close to the masses, so, and they can easily speak to convince them and give them the right direction on what to do. So they are going to be consulted, and all the world's leaders also must be consulted, having a constant meeting with them, series of orientation on what to do. So all those things have to be in place, so that by doing that, it will be very easy to mobilize people. So they will have a sense of belonging, that you count them worthy of what is on the ground. So when you speak to them, you can easily listen, then that is the area, the angle we can use to mobilize them in total.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Honorable, over to you now. Governance at grassroots level is, when you're looking at local government administration, that is when most understanding of governance at a grassroots level is, laid. And you now look at, this situation now, the autonomy fine has been granted, and, this will help reduce political interference, like the local government now have the right to go ahead and do things independently without having to, without having to have interference from probably the state government. Then this is also enhanced rural development. So what do you think is expected, to ensure that this autonomy that has been granted is, sustained, and it gives room for, what people have been agitating for, the expected development touch down the people? Because, sometimes it is one thing to grant autonomy to allow local government to run the administration. It's another thing for our people to be a worthy, leader, a worthy administrator that will be able to deliver the dividends of democracy as expected. So what would be your reaction on this?
Well, thank you very much for this beautiful and meaningful question. For those coming on board in this coming election, in order to complement the efforts of the OGCEC, which of course are prepared to conduct a free and fair election, and of course it's now shifts to the politicians, those that are about to, handle the affairs of the local government. They should understand what they are going there to do in the first instance. As it is now with this present autonomy at hand, though I still have my own reservation to that effect, because I see it as an autonomy in principle. I stand to be corrected by using that particular word, because we still have the other provisions of the Constitution that still gives the state the power to control or to have a control over the local government administration. And until this is amended, we still have some issues on ground as regards the autonomy on ground. It's a bold step by the president and of course the Attorney General of the Federation. And that is why we canvass for what I call a particular education of our people at the grassroots, because it's all over the place now that the local government chairman will now be more accountable to the people at the grassroots because of the autonomy we have on ground. But ditto, there are still some checks, bottlenecks on them as regards the local government autonomy and administration. And of course, how do we cope with the existing structures being put in place by the state government? Here's our face the administration of local government administration. We still have the local government service commission, which is being funded by the state government. We still have the Ministry of Local Government, which is still, of course,
under the state government.
Though they have another one, chieftaincy. So let's take, because it's a double
ministry.
Ministry, exactly. So we still have the pension commission or bureau of pension of the local government, which is still being funded by the state government, and the relationship between the UBEC, SUBEB, and the LGA authority, which are in charge of
on Iraqi Pelu, we'll come back to that. A lot we are still going to talk about them, but we'll take this short break now and we'll be back.
Thrilled to have you on board as we chart the course for our next chapter. We're inviting you to take up your rights in full for 19 naira 75 kobo per share. From the 8th of July to 14th of August, take advantage of the chance to acquire one more ordinary share for every 2 shares in your portfolio. Visit www.theaccesscorporation.com to subscribe. Access Holdings, where financial solutions connect the world.
Yes, back to our conversation. Thank you for joining us again. You're also going to be part of this conversation. When it gets to time, I would let you know. And the phone number to do so will be put on the screen for you to be part of the conversation. But of course, we're looking at ahead of Ogun local government elections, which is, actually the in thing now. People are, there have been agitation around this, even though that the autonomy has just been granted. So a lot is being talked about by my guests in the studio. I have with me Honorable Akipelu, who is a politician, and also Mr. Wolola Akegbogo, also a grassroots mobilizer, and the chairman of Ogun State Electoral Commission, OGSEC, has been here telling us how prepared they are. Yes, Mr. Chairman, you want to tell us now that, when you're looking at the number of political parties registered, we are looking at election coming, and can you tell us the exact number of political parties, available now that, okay, we say we have 20 political parties, and these are people who will be contesting for different political offices at local government level? Yeah, Mr. Chairman, are you there? Can you hear me? Oh, I think we're having an issue with the chairman's audio there. He's not coming out. Okay, yes, let me go back to Honorable Akipelu. You're making, you're saying something about, I even want the chairman to answer that question first before I am able to, ask.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you please repeat the question.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, can you let us have the number of political parties, registered political parties that would be contesting, that will be fielding participants in local government elections, the contestants?
Okay, it's impossible for us to state that at this point. What will happen is that we, as a commission, have thrown open the contest. We have asked political parties to indicate interest. It is at the end of that period that they will come to us, each one of them, to say we would like to contest. There have been instances where you have registered political parties, the number of registered political parties in the country. Remember, we are not the ones to register political parties. That's INEC's job. I believe right now we have 18 registered political parties in the country. But there have been instances where you have these elections and maybe 3 or 4 parties indicate interest. So it is too early for me to tell you how many parties would take part in the elections. We need to wait until the deadline has gone and have a definitive number of parties taking part.
Okay, I am asking this because, you know, we've had cases of omission where people will now come again and say, I have a political party, you know, what's it called, logo is not available on the ballot paper. So people should be guided. That is the essence of the program. People should know if you're going by the exact number of political parties in the last election as prepared by INEC, then we should know so that people will not come later, because we would not like to start entertaining, you know, after or post-election, you know, litigations and thereabouts. So that's why I need, you know, to you to tell us. But now that I know in future, or maybe before the election, we should be able to ascertain the number of political parties that will be involved in the local government election. Thank you so much for that.
I assure you, you will have the information once we have a conclusive number.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, Honorable, you know, lately, because people want to believe there is freedom for them, since autonomy is granted, people are, you know, having the mindset that I can contest. We're now free without influence of anybody saying, I'm a godfather, I can come out from anywhere and contest. And that's why we've been having, you know, I have seen, in fact, countless flyers flying around showing interest in a local government that has just 7 wards, and you have seen 20 from the same party, 20 contestants contesting for councillorship of even 1 ward. So what do you say to this? Do we say it is as a result of what this autonomy, or people need to be guided? Are we not looking at sensitizing people and have a clear understanding of what really the autonomy is talking about?
Yes, thank you again, once again, for that beautiful question. With the coming on board of multiple aspirants for the local government election is an interesting thing, and that is how it should be. The election of the grassroots is something that normally, gives sense of belonging to all and sundry. So, in my own party, in my own ward, Ottawa, for example, my councillorship aspirants are now counting up to 15 now, and they've not stopped. Just as I was coming here yesterday, somebody called me on phone that I've sent my application letter to your office. I said, that makes what number is around where I know maybe you are 14. Okay, you know yourself. Okay, no problem. So it's good as it is, but there should be caution for the aspirants coming out, for the most especially the chairmanship aspirants. Like I said, like I was saying the other time, the autonomy as it is now is still in principle. I want our people to understand that. That's why I said we need more political education on this local government autonomy. The provision of the constitution that still tie the state government and the local government together is still there, and this has to be settled for. And that is why I want to borrow the word of the former governor of Ekiti, in person of Mr. Peter Fayoshe, who said you can't separate the mother from the baby. Yeah, but unfortunately, when I read through his interview, unfortunately, he said it that he is not a lawyer, that he couldn't say much about, but from his own experience as a former governor, he knows to some extent how cordial the local government and the chairman, and the state government are, and that is the truth of the matter. Like I said, the existing provisions of the constitution still has to be amended to give the free autonomy expected to the local government administration. And what are these these constitutional provisions that I'm talking about? Let me just make mention of a few of them. The provision of Section 7 that gives the autonomy or the creation to the local government assistance. If you marry it with that of Section 8, it still gives the state government some enormous power to control the local government. Ditto for Section 162 of the Constitution, of course, on the sharing of public revenue, most especially Section 5 to 8 or thereabout. This has to be studied by the Constitution. Should be the Quran and the Bible of the chairman. I mean, the incoming chairman of the various local governments of our state. And if they could understand this, I think the better for them. The government, I mean, the state government did not wake up one day and say they want to take control of the local government. No. If I'm the governor as well, I know what to do. I will go through the Constitution and study the powers given to me. So, on the issue of this autonomy, we have to be very careful. Of course, the local government and the state government are supposed to have a kind of romantic relationship for the betterment of the people at the grassroots. And I'm sure no government, or I mean the state government, will not like to have a meaningful development of its local areas or councils. So in view of this, the chairman coming on board to take the mantle of the local government should be more concerned about their work. Take for instance, even apart from the federal allocation they are talking about, they still have their IGR, the internally generated revenue, where they can even make more money.
I was even going to comment, would they now rely on the allocation coming to them directly and stop, their own internally generated revenue? Because if you are not careful, they want to rely, because this is coming to them directly, as the case may be. Many of them will not want to, put in effort and revenue. Yes, that is one failure. I mean, that would be a great mistake for them if they fail to go into that IGR. Even most of the salary, the federal allocation we are talking about, with most of them, I can assure that 60 to 70% of them will take care of the salaries of the personnel of the workers. So what is left? What is left after that? And they should be mindful as well. The issue of NOGE, the local government staffs, that normally tackles the state government, will not be there again. And if care is not taken, and according to the 1976 local government reforms, which I started the other time, it gave, one of the criteria for creating local government then was the viability of the local area in question. Now, you will not find it funny that for them to now go on strike at once now, throughout the state, will now be different again. You may have strike in Odeda now. I'm sorry, we do respect to the people of Odeda local government. And you don't have strike in Obafemi or in Odogolu, they have been strike, and they have been strike in Adegbata, because each local government will now be responsible for the welfare and upkeep of its staffs. So that means the body will now shift, just like you have in the various states now. Edo State will be on strike today, Ogun State will be on strike tomorrow, Lagos State will not be on strike. It now takes the center to now call on them. Why are people on strike, or why are they clamoring for this or that? So the same thing will now happen or affect the local government administration now. So the chairmen who are coming out should know what they are coming out to do. They must take care of their the welfare of their staffs first, and make sure at the end of the day they have meaningful projects. That is the essence of the autonomy, to provide for the people at the grassroots. Thank you so much, Honorable Inakipeli. I've even done well to redirect my question to our grassroots mobilizer in the House. We are talking about strengthening democracy. That is one of the benefits, major benefits of the autonomy that just been granted. But taken from what Honorable Akinpelu just said, there is a need to educate the aspiring, local government administrators who are planning to come on board. How do you intend to do this? How much are you going to, have them understand what it takes for them to be at the ends of affairs for the next how many years now that they will be there? It is not going to be good to say that after the autonomy has been granted, people have been elected into political offices, and at the end of the day, it is not like what people are actually expecting. So what will be your own contribution in this perspective, and how do you look at it and justify the essence of this autonomy as a grassroots mobilizer?
Thank you once again. I appreciate your wisdom. If we want a comfort everywhere in the world, we have to take a perpetual caring of the grassroots. If you notice many crises around, you see them protesting here and there, you see them carry series of things because they are trying to, to express their feelings. to the leaders that this is what they're feeling, what should it be? You understand? So there are so many things we put into consideration by the virtue of my own profession. I don't see difficulties in mobilizing the people, because what it takes is just a solid and concrete orientation. And from our president, for him to take a bold step on the area of autonomy, you could see that he has thought deeply on what it can give a deep routine comfort to the grassroots. And many people now, when they heard the word autonomy, they thought the celebration, the law of money has come. That is why you see so many people coming on board, shouting here and there. So many things are coming. Many does not even have a motion to come on board to use the autonomy for the betterment of the grassroots and not the people in the entire area. Many people coming up, they don't have the intention because they are just rushing now. So now that you want to come out as a chairman to contest for the chairman or any post, maybe councillor here and there, you need to examine yourself. You want to contest for the chairman. What is the impact? What is the ambition do you have to make the grassroots have a comfort for what you are doing? You that you are coming as a chairman. So how far have you been assisting the masses? What have you done? What can the masses say of you before you bold to say you want to come and lead the people? That is why I was telling you something that grassroots are very simple. And many of them need transparency in the area of addressing them, counseling them, and they like the transparency. They want to see the transparency on your expression. You understand? So now that our president has done his own by giving the room for autonomy, then like my colleague has just said now, he said, former governor of Ekiti State, he said you cannot separate a mother from the baby. Yeah. Likewise, the state from the local government. We have to put so many things into consideration on whatever we are doing. Getting the autonomy doesn't mean that the state does not relevant to you. You see how some things that you need to take from your number one citizen of your state that have to call for the cordial relationship. Whatever that is in the local government, anything that belongs to the state assignment, anything that belongs to the local government assignment is a question of roundtable discussion and handle it amicably. So the chairman of the area will have a comfort to run this administration, and the governor of the state will also be welcoming his idea to support to be a supportive amount. How much are you taking from the federal that you want to capitalize it in order to now give, for you now to give respect to the number one citizen of the state? It doesn't work about
so it's just to say that you can't just believe you have the autonomy and the state government is cut off and you believe you can just run the affairs of local government all by yourself. Thank you. It's an analysis and it is, it's a conversation that, we just have to talk about. Yes, I want to ask Mr. Babatunde, that is the chairman of GCEC, to, give us his words. We are planning, we're preparing to experience one election that means a lot to people, even after the autonomy. The other discussion around this would just be in the future. We want to see what will happen. The federal government, the autonomy has just been granted. That is the main, vocal point of this discussion, and people are looking towards what would happen after the election. But of course, your own business is just to ensure you conduct a very free election in the state, and very peaceful one at that. So what would be your words to the people, especially now that we have multiple people coming on board? A lot of people want to say that let me go and test and be part of the national cake. So what would be your final words to the people before we also kind of call it a date of the program today?
Okay, thank you. So before I give that final word, I want to refer to something that was said earlier on. That is candidates, if you like, proliferating all over the place, that there's multitudes of candidates coming out this time. Let me say that from my own point of view, that is a good thing. It's a positive development that we have a lot more people interested in administering local government. But I also want to say something else there. That is, we need persons of high caliber, persons of proven integrity, persons of proven track records to come out. Listen, if you go to other countries of the world, local government, when you look at the caliber of people that come out to contest, it's not just young people. You have retired professors, retired military officers, retired administrators, people of experience, people who have seen it all and done it all, people who don't need the money, people who are coming out because they have something to give back. Society has been good to them. Now they're in the, maybe you could say, the twilight of their life. They have a lot of experience to give. Instead of sitting idle at home, they come out, they take positions, and we as a society are better for it. So I want to join people in that category that I've just mentioned to come out and to contest, not just for chairmanship, but also for councillor, for councillorship positions. The higher the caliber of candidates that we have, the better the local governments will be administered. So that is what I wanted to say about that. But as my final word is that I give my word to the citizens of the state will be conducted without fear and without favor. They will be conducted with one sole purpose in mind, and that purpose is that the elections will be free, they will be fair, and we as a commission will be just to all and sundry, and we will be equitable to all and sundry. And may I say that we already have established this as a reputation, but I want to repeat it. We have an open door policy. Anybody who has an issue or is aggrieved about anything that we have said or done has an opportunity to knock on our door. We will always respond positively. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. That's a good one. But of course, let me quickly chip in this. Yes, youth representation is one agitation that is so strong, and you want to talk about the youth constituency being underrepresented when it comes to political offices, and this has been the yearning in the mouth of several of them. They want also to come out. Fine, it's good to say that we need people of experience to bring their wealth of experience to bear when it comes to local government administration, people that are of good track records. Yes, a good thing, but don't let us also forget the fact that we have been having issues relating to youth not participating as expected. But a good one. It's just an exercise that requires every other person's involvement, and we pray that at the end of it all, it will also be in the benefit of the people and the entire masses. Thank you so much for that beautiful one. Yes, we would likely to take one or two calls if they come in. If not, then But I would say my producer should just help us put the phone number on the screen so that we'll get contribution from the people at home. Yes, Honorable Akipelu, I want to come to you and say, the youth representation fine is something that is so germane, it's so critical in the polity, and people are looking at encouraging youth, because they say the business you do as an elder that you are not transferring to the younger ones, you are praying for the collapse of such business. So in this regard, how do you think we should ensure that, because it requires experience too. It should be somebody at the ends of affair at the local government level, should be somebody that is tested, trusted, and have the capability and capacity to deliver. But now we're talking about the need to involve the youth. How do we start, by bringing them along or allowing them, when they train, it's possible for them to train on the job?
Yeah, Thank you very much for that beautiful question. And of course, I must say it is very hard to answer as well. But in every class of life, or classes of life, there is no way you cannot have the two together, the elders and the youth. So, and for me, I think it's high time we look at some criteria while putting people in some positions. We've seen some youth that went to the House of Reps that excelled, to the Senate that excelled, even at the presidency level in some other countries of the world, and they are performing very well. So, and our own country cannot be an exception to that. So, it all depends on what they are bringing on board. The qualifications they have. I may be a youth now of 30 years, which of course I think is the minimum age, or 25 for the chairmanship position. But what about my academic? I mean, you have to put into consideration my academic qualification, my experience in public service, or even my own personal business. And manage these together, I think it gives leverage for the youth as well to partake in any of the elective positions at the grassroots, because they are equally building their future. Any mistake?
Honorable Akinspelu, why I would say certificate sometimes does not judge
I agree with you, but that's
how
what
much
track
you
record,
can,
their experience, where they are coming from.
We've had several certificates and still do not meet up the expectation of the masses and those they are representing. Yes, we have come to the end of the show today, and we wish we could have a lot to, time to still talk about this, go on this conversation. But of course, our time is fast spent, and we need to call it a date on the program today. From my guests, I want to really appreciate your contribution, and I want to appreciate you for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Akinspelu. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for being part of the show. We are looking forward to the election, and we're waiting to see what the outcome will be. Thank you so much for being part of the show today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's how far we'll go on the show today. Promoting grassroots politics is why the autonomy is granted as one of the benefits to take away. And this will also, kind of reduce interference, like a kind of influence in the decisions of running the affairs of local government. And these are more the benefits of local government autonomy as granted. But we look forward to conducting a very first one after the autonomy has legally and officially granted to local government. And of course, we want to also come back here and analyze the success of this local government administration. It is on that note that I want to say goodbye on the show today. My name is Moreni Keji Shobaloju. Join us again next week for another interesting package or an episode of Roundtable. Bye-bye.